This is Before It Was Headlines, It Was Prophecy, and I'm your host, Katie Elizabeth. I'd like to speak for just a few minutes in this segment about the fact as the end of days draw near, there will be what appears to be a coming together of the riders on these horses. But what we must remember is the riders on the horses have been released by Messiah Yeshua. And since they're covering the entire earth, we're going to find the opposite in solutions, which is the worldly powers coming together to form alliances and seek solutions that are happening because these riders are riding. So it's going to be an interesting example. Isaiah 5 speaks of it most clearly when it said they'll call good evil and evil good. And what we're going to be facing is the fact that Messiah Yeshua has released these riders, and the solutions of man are going to come in and come together because of that. And it'll be up to it'll be up to us to discern, because Messiah said, except the very elect be deceived. So we need to really keep our eyes on him and on the word, so we know what is coming and what to call good and what to call evil, because it's going to be reversed. Now, as for the rider on the white horse, I'm going to tell you right now, he conquers. So ultimately, captivity will be the human solution. Now, it's going to be packaged differently than just say, come on, you're going into captivity. But that will be the human solution. And don't think marking of those in captivity won't come into play for security purposes. So you can already see that connection coming. Now, as for the rider on the red horse, we know since Messiah said there'd be wars and rumors of wars, there will be. He said it, it's a fact. And that will continue until his return. So we'll see bigger militaries, bigger funding for militaries, militias, and more power granted to them. This link will appear in the Goshen Gazette tomorrow, but there actually is a position now in the American military for internment and reestablishment, something. But if you check that out, it truly is a position in our military already for internment and reestablishment or something to that effect. And the link will be included, as I said, in the Goshen Gazette tomorrow evening. But it's coming to pass. It's coming to pass and we'll see the military powers and the captivity and containment powers coming together. And I'm going to say now, it's going to be scary times, but I would say coming together under that mix is not a place God's people would want to be. Now, don't think for a minute that marking's not going to be necessary in that situation either, or determined necessary by the powers that be. So they can do between the good guys and the bad guys. Well, a mark from the world power will still not be the mark of YHWH. So keep that in mind. Always keep that in mind. Anybody, I don't care if, the local tattoo artist suddenly claims to be born again. If he's going to give you some mark, don't, and say that's a mark of God, don't take it. Scripture tells us in Revelation 7 that very clearly the mark will be put on YHWH's people by him. So, per his orders. Now, as for the rider on the black horse, we're already seeing government provision and global supply organizations and plans for food over every part of the world. So, before long, the rationing alone, that's going to involve some sort of mark of identity. That's just, if you get in line somewhere for some sort of food provision, chances are there's, it's coming down the pike that there will be a need for some sort of identification. Now, as for the rider on the power horse, we are at the threshold of government provision for health care. And we already see that in America with Medicare and Medicaid. And, there's UNICEF. There's all these places, World Health Organization, CDC. There's already a lot of things in place right now. But as insurance is now becoming mandatory, and the DSM-5R, which is the diagnostic manual, in psychiatric, in mental health, that's now been published. So those of us who believe in the healing of YHWH will definitely become easy to single out and be labeled. So be ready for that. But I would also say, I've been living very, very healthy, I might add. I've been living very well, just trusting my health to YHWH for over a decade now. And I really have no complaints. As for the rest, 6 years ago, hospitals were already using barcodes on, the wristband that have been synonymous with hospitals for years and years. They now have a barcode on them. And that was 6 years ago, so I have no idea what's transpired since. But it was very clear at that time that I was watching that it's a very short, it's not even a leap, it's a very short step to connect the dots from a barcode on your wrist to a mark in your hand. And it will be, of course, what we're overlooking is all this marking business is going to be presented for your good, for your protection, for your security. In healthcare, it's going to be very easy to say, this way we can immediately, if you're unconscious, we can find out your health history. It'll avoid medication errors. All of this is going to be presented to be for our benefit, and yet we still need to be aware. It's the solutions of man. And that's what Scripture says when it's describing the mark of the beast. It's the number of man. Now, knowing these words are coming out of my mouth, I know I may very well be called upon to face exactly what I'm warning about in this video. And to be real honest, I'm not that big and brave and strong. So, it would be great if some big, strong, brave man were giving this warning. And he is. I am a messenger of Messiah Yeshua. It has been revealed to me in the Word and through prayer. We simply must see that the mark of the beast is really the counterfeit mark of YHWH. End time events come together. We're going to be looking at that. And I believe it is sooner than later. YHWH has promised to meet all of our need in Messiah Yeshua. And as the man-made solutions are going to be presented, they will be enforced. YHWH solution is already in place and has been before the foundation of the world. It will indeed be trying times, but for those of us who belong to our Creator, and we stand strong, we have this. Well, we can read in the New Testament, a lot of followers of Messiah got martyred. And that may very well be the way our numbered days end. But whether we're martyred out or we're provided for, either way, our faith is to be in our Creator, the God of Israel, who is YHWH. And He promises all of that in His Son, through His Son, Messiah Yeshua. Scary times we're living in, trying times. Scripture, it's called the end of times, the end of days. But we are promised right up to, through the second coming, that we will not go through it alone. This has been KD Elizabeth. Before it was headlines, it was prophecy.